Earth. We got to have some way to survive that, and the only way to do that is to develop as much technology as we can. That's not only for Earth. I mean, we may discover that we could, terraform Mars a lot quicker than we thought we could with the technology we're developing on the planet Earth. So I don't see any negative side to this other than, it costs. You got to make that investment. It's a hard thing to get people to think 10, 12 years down the line. Everyone's worried about right now. And in order for us to make this a success worldwide, as far as everyone being able to use technology to increase the quality of life, I think that's the main goal we're trying to reach here.
Let me ask you one more question. This is just something, Mr. Mark Leone again from NASA. Some people have said that the Earth can support a population of maybe 8 billion people, 8.5 billion people, and then that's eating beef. And then after that point in time, that maybe if we went on to eating grain or maybe just chicken and fish or things like that, maybe go up to 10 billion, 10.5 billion. What happens when we exceed that? What happens to the planet?
Well, the planet will be stressed out. I think a lot of ecosystems will fail because there's not enough ability for them to sustain because we're using all their resources to do what we need. So I think what's going to save us again is maybe trying to figure out a way to use maybe places in orbit. They can grow algae in huge plastic sheets in space and not take up space on the planet. So who knows where the technology is going to lead. I mean, maybe they're able to, not that this is an attractive thing to think, but maybe they can develop a protein substitute so that we don't have to have beef, something that tastes good but provides the protein. I hate to remind people of the movie Soylent Green, but that's a twisted version of what I'm talking about.
But at the same token, too, it's like, and this is, not to, people have many different views, but, growing up on a ranch and a farm, these animals are alive, they have feelings, like we're slaughtering them for food. It'd be nice if we had some substance, we don't have to always kill, these creatures. I mean, I realize, some people think of just cows. I grew up in a ranch, I herded cattle, but, every life deserves, a chance to live. And I like the idea of eating algae and protein, only because with the right seasoning, I mean, I've eaten sweet and sour pork that was made out of tofu that you would swear was real thing. So as long as you can't tell the difference, then hey, that's where you go.
So that's what I think the technology is going to be good for. And everyone takes everything literally. Like everything you see on the screen here doesn't mean that everyone's going to go out and be, a marine technology engineer type person. But it's the idea that they know that they can come up against problems and then use technology to help them solve it. I think that's the main thing.
That's it. And so once again, I got to acknowledge you, Freddie. You've inspired me the last couple of years. What you've done with the kids here, the examples that they represent, is really a model for everyone in the United States. And I know there's people today watching from South America and from Asia. We've picked up on some of the IP numbers according to other folks here. And, the world is watching us. So let us be a great example. You've been a great example for these kids, and thanks for inspiring me.
Well, thank you for having us. Thank you for coming here, and we hope you keep coming.
Me too. I love it.
Before you go, any ideas on next year's game?
Well, obviously everyone's pointing out some kind of oil spill disasters, but we're thinking maybe we're trying to decide how politically correct that is to take advantage of that situation. But we'll get the games committee together, and a lot of people are pitching ideas of different type of functions they'd like to do, and so we've heard things like doing a shipwreck of an ancient vessel, and go inside and try to recover things, maybe like a treasure chest or something like that, to making a little robotics that are, animals that are autonomously moving around in the water, and you got to go capture them. So we got all these different ideas, and anyone who has anything, you can feel free to email us if you're listening, because we'll take all these ideas and stick them on a whiteboard and then try to come up with a mission theme that'll incorporate as many new things. Like the newest thing this year was being able to rotate something 90 degrees and to be able to deploy some kind of trajectory, like a missile or something. Those were the two new things that we had this year, because everyone said, oh, we want to do a missile. So we came up with a way to do that. It wasn't very destructive. We just wanted to radio tag Nessie. So we want to get all these ideas so we know what kind of things what kind of theme we can put together so everything makes some kind of a sense why you're out there doing it.
Excellent. When are you going to publish next year's?
Every Halloween. When the kids are out trick-or-treating, we want all the NERC teams to stay home and hand out candy and look at the website, because that's when we usually announce what the mission theme is, and hopefully people will start brainstorming right away. I know there's some teams that start right on October 31st with planning what they want to do, And
I
know
saw quite a few this morning starting.
Yeah. So, you know, we hope it inspires people. And I don't remember exactly why we picked October 31st, but I kind of like that as it's a fun way to introduce it.
Well, I forget what I was going to say. I'm sure it's very important. Okay, somebody that's listening and they go, well, that's a good idea, but how do you get started on this? Where do you get your information? How much is it going to cost me? Where do I get, I mean, how do you go about forming a team, and what does it take?
Well, forming a team, that's something, there's a million ways to do that. You can do your family. There's 2 families here that are doing it. You can do your high school robotics club, or get a group of friends together and you want to do it. Group of adults that want to have something to do and show the young kids how to do things and hopefully not get embarrassed. Well, come here and do it. So organizing your team, there's a million ways to do that. The information, there is 4 years worth of technical reports on our website. So anyone who wants to look at what teams have won in the past and then go to the technical reports and then look at what their information is that they gave out on how they built their control system, what kind of thrusters did they use. There's also links on our website on vendors, like different places to get components that you don't necessarily want to make yourself, like maybe special connectors or something. So those are the kind of things that are on there, as well as all the videos that we have posted on our website showing the different missions. So there's a lot of resources out there, and the teams have their own websites. So you can even go to the teams' websites and contact the people that actually built this stuff and ask them, you know, how did you come up with the idea? How did you know, what kind of information did you need to build the O-rings, you know, the way you did? Or there's a lot of resources out there, so it's not too difficult. The other thing we have is a kit. If a group wants to put something together that all the components have been assembled and put in a box, we have an ROV in a box that you can purchase from one of our sponsors. And for $250, you got a robot that can qualify for the finals here, because two basic robots using that same format are in the finals tonight. They're used as starting points. They don't necessarily have capabilities to do everything, but after you build one of those kits, you have enough confidence to move on to maybe adding a few more complicated features.
Cool. So how much money do you think it would cost? Okay, if the Cameron family goes, good idea, how much money should I set aside?
If you start with the ROV in a box as your starting point, I would say that for $500 and down, you could come up with a basic kit and then add extra motors and thrusters and different things that you can manipulate more things than just drive around.
Cool.
But that's, you know, it just depends on how sophisticated you want to get.
And then you get to come out to Chandler, Arizona in June. And
stay up all night and do an underwater robotics competition.
All the teenagers love it, and all the adults are going, oh, what time is it? Well, that's cool. So how much longer are you going to be doing this?
Well, I don't see an end right now. It just depends on, you know, here we are in a recession and we were able to pull 18 teams. So I think that's pretty surprising. I was expecting a lot less this year. But, you know, so I think if we can survive at this juncture of time, I think if the economy changes a little bit and teams can feel more breathing room as far as being able to raise funds, because more corporate sponsors will be willing to give up a few more dollars, I think that we'll be able to sustain a 24, 25 team limit. Anything bigger starts to get a little more difficult for us to handle, but that seems to be a comfortable level.
But you can hold other venues.
Well, that's true. I mean, our cafeteria, the pit area, I don't think can hold more than 24 teams, and it'd be hard for us if more than 12 or 13 teams qualify, because then we have to build 2 fields and work.
Which you did last year.
Yeah,
the year before too, didn't you?
Yeah, and but we didn't have the full 24 because teams would fail, and then so we had to come up with a qualifying method. So, you know, you have a little more success in the evening when you're running. It's very frustrating if you put in a robot right away and it's the first time you've ever been in the water and it doesn't do anything. It's very hard on the audience to see that because it's too painful to watch.
Okay, you guys won underwater stuff, you run terrestrial stuff, the Chairman's Award, you've done the space thing. What's left?
Well, we have our eyes on this naval competition. It's the AUVSI. It's an autonomous underwater robotics competition where you basically turn on the robot, has to go and do all the mission by itself. So basically it uses vision recognition and acoustic location to navigate around the pool and manipulate the different things it has to do in the sequence that it has to do it. So we're doing little experiments with key components on water tightening to see if we can go there with a robot that programmers had 6 months worth of programming time to work on it. So our angle is to make a robot that's really low maintenance, I guess you could call it, as far as leakage.